and have been executing a tightly choreographed timeline of events. One of the earliest was a proximity operations demonstration. NASA astronaut Victor Glover, Artemis 2 pilot, manually flew Orion shortly after separation from the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, simulating a docking approach. This prepares crews for future Artemis missions when Orion will dock with a lunar lander in orbit around the Moon. About 25 hours after launch, Orion performed a translunar injection burn, a 5-minute, 50-second maneuver that committed the spacecraft to leaving high Earth orbit and set up the lunar flyby on Flight Day 6. During the flyby, Orion passed about 4,000 to 6,000 miles from the Moon, giving the crew a full disk view of the lunar surface. From this higher vantage point, farther out than typical Apollo orbits, they could see both poles and major geologic features at once. Near the end of the flyby, they also witnessed an eclipse, with the sun hidden behind the Moon from Orion's perspective. At closest approach, Orion came within 4,067 miles of the Moon. The mission reached a maximum distance of 252,756 miles from Earth and surpassed the record set during Apollo 13. Since the flyby, the crew has continued working through additional test objectives, including an orthostatic intolerance garment test. On Flight Day 9, they shifted their focus to entry and splashdown preparations, stowing equipment, reviewing weather and recovery status, and walking through the entry timeline. Orion also completed its second return trajectory correction burn at 9:53 p.m. Central Time, fine-tuning its path back to Earth. Looking ahead, Orion will perform a final trajectory correction burn about 5 hours before entry interface. Roughly 2 hours later, the crew will begin their entry checklist and don their orange Orion Crew Survival System suits. 20 minutes before entry, the crew and service module will separate, followed by the crew module raise burn. Entry interface occurs at about 400,000 feet. The forward bay cover deploys at 36,000 feet, drogue parachutes at 25,000 feet, and pilot parachutes at 9,500 feet, pulling out the 3 main parachutes. Splashdown is expected off the coast of San Diego at 7:07 p.m. Central, 8:07 p.m. Eastern. After landing, recovery teams will safe the spacecraft and complete power down procedures. The crew is expected aboard the recovery ship, the USS Martha, within about 2 hours. In total, Integrity will have traveled approximately 694,481 miles from launch to splashdown. We'll continue to follow operations here in Mission Control. I'm Nilofer Ramji, handing things over now to our entry team, which includes Rob Navius, who will take you through the next few hours as we get into Flight Day 10 and splashdown of the Artemis mission. As this mission continues towards home, I'll be signing off for my final shift on Orbit 3. Thank you for joining us. This has been an honor of a lifetime to share these moments from Earth, orbit to the Moon, and back again. Artemis 2 is just